Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Tracy Show. Um, I am so glad you all could join me today. I have a guest who I'll let introduce herself here in just a moment. But before I do, I got a series of bills that I have to pay. First of all, everybody who's watching this channel, please subscribe. I'm literally at 172. I'm so close to 200. After struggling last year at staying at 150 and couldn't get past anything, I am 28 away from 200. Let's get this done. Subscribing literally costs nothing. You can also support me on Patreon, starting at $2 a month, going all the way up to 15. And I, of course, want to thank my Patreons, Anna Hart, Robin Weldon, William Russell. I want to thank them for their support. Again, the Patreon link. You want to subscribe. And remember that next week, the 22nd, I think that's next week. If it's not, it'll be. Anyway, February the 22nd, the Thursday show will have a special after party. So this is exclusively for the Patreons. If you want to get your link to be a part of that great conversation, you have to be a Patreon. I'll email you the link, and we'll be discussing the best food mascot. That will be our discussion. So we look forward to that. We do it once a month on the fourth Thursday of the month. So we look forward to that. And with that, I'm going to let my guest introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Riot Johnson. I am a stand-up comedian. I am an entrepreneur, and I am a mother of two beautiful girls. I am in the medical field. I am a child of God. I've been doing comedy for about 3 years. Thank you so much, Miss Tracy, for having me on your show and your platform. And shout out to the sponsors, Patreon. Definitely go click and subscribe. And
Thank you.
also, Miss Happy to do it.
So of course we got to get started because last week I learned a whole lot about stand-up comedy that I didn't realize. And one of the things I learned was stand-up comics write jokes. I literally thought it was just you get up there, they give you a mic, and you just start going. I'm like, you
See,
you you write jokes? Like you you,
see,
you write them?
that is actually how I started comedy. I didn't write jokes. I knew nothing about comedy. I got handed a mic as I went to a comedy open mic at Michael Soul's Kitchen. That was, I think it's still there downtown Indianapolis. Again, knew nothing about it. I just wanted to be happy, asked God for an outlet, stepped to the mic, been doing it for 3 years. And then when it was more me getting into it, then they were like, oh, you got to write your jokes. And I'm like, what do you mean write jokes? Like, is it like a knock knock joke? And it was like, no, you just gotta write your jokes. That is more of a self taught thing as well. But yes, comedians actually sit down and we write out jokes and punchlines.
Yeah, I was like, well, say that again. Say that again. So you
Yes.
talked about how you got your start,
Hmm.
because you named off a list of careers there, that you have. Um, I'll ask you how you balance them in a bit, but talk about specifically the comedy. You said you got started on an open mic night,
Hmm.
but were you told like as a child you were funny, or did you like you were the class clown, or how did that all start?
I was always me during life, so I was always, the quiet, funny child. I wasn't a class clown. I was very, very smart. Very, very. I'll say definitely into arts. I did dancing. I did talent shows. But when it came to comedy, I never thought of it. I just knew I wanted to be an actress and play the funny roles. And one of my favorite comedians of watching Queens of Comedy was Samora, and her jokes, and it was like, wow, okay, I definitely want to make sure I'm funny in life. But when I started comedy, again, almost 3 years ago, it was just a dark place in my life. And with comedians and comedy, it sounds crazy, but it's a balance in our lives. We are able to make the dark be funny. And when I started, again, I knew nothing about it. My car went down. I was driving in a Lyft, and I'm just joking, making other people laugh as I love to do. And the guy mentioned the open mic of, again, downtown, and I was like, yeah, I'll be a comedian one day. You'll see me up there. And I literally just one day was like, all right, God, I need an outlet. I need to laugh. I need to be happy. Gathered all my change, went downtown, and again, hit the mic, just being me. And then once people found out I was a comedian, they were like, oh, it makes sense now. Because you weren't funny when you was a kid. And I never really looked at it like that. I just always looked at it as I just like to make people laugh. So,
Yeah, and I always think, um, in terms of comedians making the transition to acting, because
mm-hmm.
if you look at it, there are so many gifted comedians that have made that easy transition into acting. The Robin Williams, the Moniques.
Yes, yes.
Um, there's like a ton of other people I can't name them, but the transition from stand up
Mm-hmm.
to comedy has always just been effortless. Red Fox, that's who I was thinking of.
Yep, yeah. Because when you're a stand-up comedian, it is when we're up there, that is a form of acting. A lot of it is a improv to our jokes. You hear it 1,000 times, but it's always reconstructed. So when it comes to acting and playing those roles, I believe we can transition so easily is because we're still being ourselves. And they love the ad libs. They love when it's okay, especially when we can take a role that is supposed to be funny and make it our own, and it just slides through because, as you stated earlier, we are known as the class clowns, the actors, and things like that of having a mask on. So for me to do that again, I did acting, I did plays too in high school, from serious to funny. So it was still a smooth transition. Like, shout out to Rob Williams because that's who I took his class of watching his personal life and putting it on the screen of relating to everyone and just doing what he loves. So that is.
Yeah, that's a great thing because I am not funny in real life, pretend life, no life. But I think most people like me think this can't be hard. And I'm learning through the two comics that I have spoken to. Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
this is hard. This is hard. I don't know who told you it was because a great comic or a good comic makes it
Mm-hmm.
look so effortless. Like just no effort. It's like you're just talking. Like you're having a
Yeah.
conversation with the audience. How do you build that that vibe with the audience? What is it that you do?
One is be ourselves. Literally be ourselves. I literally be myself in the moment of knowing that with me being a parent, I know majority of my crowd is going to be parents. The most I will say where it came out of me just having to be me and believing in who I am of relating and just talking with the audience was when I went to Iowa for Mad Hatter's production when I went on tour with Donnie Baker, rest in peace. And I was in a theater of all, probably about close to 200 or more of all Caucasian people. And I was the only black person, let alone black woman, in the building and on the stage. And I was collecting tickets. No one knew I was part of the show until they see me on stage. That is when it was, this ain't easy. This is where I have to build up the connection, and just be me. No, being a comic, being able to talk to a crowd as if you're talking to one person, that is difficult. But everybody is funny. You say you're not funny, but you got me cracking up over here because I find a lot of funny in a lot of things, but you have to be able to believe that you are funny in yourself too. So,
But see, there's a difference. There's humorous, which is what I
mm-hmm.
think I am, and then
Yeah.
there's funny. there's like a
That's true.
difference. Like humorous is
That's true.
so, like I'm a big fan of British comedy. Big huge
Yes.
fan of it because it's more cerebral.
Yes.
Now don't get it wrong, don't get it twisted. I love pie in the face comedy too.
Yes.
It's like second. But I like that high structured comedy that kind of makes me think. It kind
Yes.
of makes me. I think I'm more of that than get on the stage and like, look at her, she's just cracking. No, I can't do that.
Yeah, you are more the as I say, I relate to you probably more of like an Eddie Griffin comic. A lot of people don't like Eddie Griffin. I love Eddie Griffin. Shout out to him
Yeah, see,
because
you
he's
named
he's
somebody different. That I get. I'll take the compliment though.
yeah, because you learn something from him and you laugh at the same time, whether you agree with it or not. You still leave like, okay, because you like politics too, and a lot of his jokes goes into the politic jokes and things like that. So there's a difference between being humorous and being actually funny, of entertaining. But I like dark jokes. Believe it or not, I am a fan of certain dark jokes. Not too dark, but those make me kind of chuckle because those are the people that can make you laugh when I'm at a funeral and I need to laugh. Those are the jokes that helps everybody get through it, or people are scared to laugh up, but it's okay. Um, so it's
Ooh, yeah. There's sometimes in church you can't laugh because at a
no,
funeral
no, of
you
course.
could be like, well, the person was humorous and they would want you to laugh. Try laughing when the pastor is preaching. Try
No,
that and see how
see,
that
see,
works. It's not going to.
no, in a black church, no, we're not going. What you laughing at? You know how many times I got the pinch twisted skin because I'm laughing with my cousins and them? Like, no, of course, that
Or
one
somebody
is
shouts.
yeah, and you see that person shouting, wig might be, flapping a little bit, or you see some pantyhose that look, this ain't the right brand, or and especially even as adults, we look at that and it's like, oh, there she go, falling out again. We'd have been there, but it is a point of time where you do, and God allows laughter in church.
Oh yeah. Because the
Yeah, like
people in church, they're the funniest people ever. I mean, funny,
like
like we're the funniest people that you will ever encounter in
I
your entire
swear.
life. I'm like, if you don't hang around church people, I mean, go because of the message, but just hang around church people. You go for the message, but the benefit, you're gonna find some funny people, especially the older they are.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, oh, I love the
See
senior
that?
saints. I
See,
love the senior saints because they don't care. They will
they do
say
not.
just what
They
they
do, I,
want, when they want, how they want, and not gonna apologize for it.
no, they're not, because by then that's when they got the relationship of understanding God knows who He created. God knows my heart. Like, I'm just gonna say it. Ain't no point of holding it in. Um, that's like my grandfather. My grandfather, he was really, really big in church. Really, really big on us, but he was always funny to me. Always funny. Even in church, of just stating what was on his mind. And I'm like, man, like, you don't care if God's standing in front of you. You're gonna say this joke, and I used to get in trouble again laughing, but no, when I say like at a funeral, some people need that uplifting of a break of laughter in
Mm-hmm.
between. I tell people, don't bring me to a funeral if you don't want to chuckle, because as I told my sister and our friend Kobe, I went to his mother's funeral and as a support, because I'm not good around sad situations. It just never really been me. I've always been able to crack a joke, even with my mom now in the hospital. I've always been able to make people laugh. It's I don't know, like a nervous thing. You know how people have a nervous tick? For me, it's telling a joke in them type of situations. And that's why, like, even in church, I would definitely get in trouble. No, you can't laugh while the pastor's preaching. But you see where the funny is, though, because church people are really, really. That's where I got a lot of my comedy from. Is it's
Telling you,
the
it's
saint.
the best place.
I'm
Go for
telling
the
you.
message, but
Yes.
stay for the people, cause you're gonna laugh, and you don't mean to. And then some people, I'm not gonna tell this story about when my mother laughed in church, cause I tried to make the mistake of getting away, and she like
Yeah.
literally pulled me back, like, no, you're gonna sit here while I laugh at this. I mean, people, and I'm gonna get to my next question, but I gotta tell this story now a minute. She didn't have one of those quiet like ha 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 laughs. No, no. Rest in peace
Yeah.
to my mother. But she had one of those loud, cackling, double over, stomach hurting, crying laughs, and you wasn't gonna miss it. And I guess because um do you ever get that type of yeah, here comes the question. Do you ever get that type of response when you're doing a routine?
Yes. Yes.
And how
I
does
did.
that make you feel?
I did that last night. Honestly, it makes you feel as a comedian, as I tell people, when I'm on stage, you're laughing with me. When I'm putting on my shows, I'm helping heal both our pains. We're both getting something to laugh at. But when I'm on stage and I get those bent over laughs where people relate to the joke and they make me laugh as if I'm not even the one telling the joke and reliving it again, that is a feeling that is where it's all right. I know I'm in my right lane. This is the relief I came out for. The response of that is literally getting people when I get off stage of thank you. I needed that. I haven't laughed since this long. And when I'm able to laugh with people, oh yeah, I'm the loudest one in the room. That's why I can't laugh in a microphone. I have a distinctive laugh.
Um Now when you, because you mentioned you have, I don't know if your children are small or older, but I
Both.
can imagine, oh, both. Okay, so you have a
Hmm.
combination, so this question is going to make sense. Um, when you're traveling,
Hmm.
or you're just not there to help them with their homework because you're playing a show or something,
Hmm.
how do you balance comedy? Well, how do you balance comedy, work, personal, children?
My children, they they are very independent. I have a 6 and a 14-year old. Both girls. Taught them to definitely be self independent as they grow on in life. My 14-year old, she steps in when it is homework time, bath time, as they are knowing I need to get my rest. They are the ones who encourage me, honestly, to keep going. When I'm like, I feel like my time is being taken up too much. I need to be here with you guys. I want to go in mommy mode. It's they look at me and say, no, you gotta keep going. Like we want you to keep going. You can't stop. So they are the ones who keep me balanced of being able to do it all. Especially again, my oldest. She is my rock. She helps me with the 6-year old, and the 6-year old, she's like my counselor on my hard days. As I'm there when they come home from school, because that's when I do my shows at night, making sure they are there, watched, homework's done. It's not easy. Weekends I get my break. They go with their dads. I do have family because I'm a twin, so I have my twin sisters. They'll step in to help me do what I need to do as well. But it's a hard balance, but I get it done.
Now let's talk about the 9 to 5 job. Has there
That
ever been a time where you wanted to do a show, you really wanted to do it, but dang on it, you had to go to work?
I didn't go to work.
Okay, well that answers that.
I
Because I was like,
didn't either. I didn't go to work, or my job ethic is so good that I can be late for work and still all right. Well, as long as she coming, we know she's going to definitely do her job. But a lot of jobs that I've gotten, they understand what I'm trying to do as I make them laugh. They encourage me to do it. They want to come out to shows, and I tell them go ahead. But no, I don't. If it's a show and an opportunity, as when you get to that stage in entertainment, of wanting to really do this as a full time, you have to choose between going in and making that certain amount in those 8 hours or taking this opportunity to be happy.
now here's another question I just thought about. When you're taking these or comic jobs, is that the right term?
Bookings.
Thank you. Thank you. Cause I'm like, that don't sound right. When you
No,
get
no.
bookings, are you booking themselves or do you have like a manager that does that for you?
No, I handle all of that myself as well. As I tell people, I refuse to hire an agent or a manager when I've been doing that myself, at least for me. Now, I do have managers and staffing that does help me keep my shows running definitely now. But I do the agent booking for myself, and I do the bookings of booking other comedians and artists, as I like to keep control over my schedule myself. And I think that the first rule of business too is to present yourself first. As if my manager's there to represent me, they can go off anything. For me, it'll be the assistant that I have. So I have to be the booker. At the same time, trying to be the bookie. That's where you go to the open mics and again take these opportunities. So that's again mentally another whole different schedule.
Yeah, now that's a question I didn't ask. How do you now? Of course, I live in Indianapolis too, and how I literally know of maybe a
Mhm.
nightclub, and I don't even know if it's even open now. I'm like, is this club open? But how do you find out like when club crackers? That's the one I'm thinking of,
Okay.
and I don't know if it exists. It might not.
It still does. It still
Oh,
does.
okay. So when they have, if you want to play there, are
Mhm.
they calling you? Are you calling them for open mic night? How does that all work?
No, you're at least I'll take helium because I never booked at Crackers or been on their open mic. I got to be booked and host for J. Anthony Brown at Crackers. Um, and at Helium, it's you have to go to these open mics and again book yourselves of taking the chance of going online to Helium and taking a chance to see if you're going to hear back the next day to be on their open mics.
Oh,
Um,
so it's like an audition.
pretty much. Pretty much. It's when you sign up for Helium Open Mic, it is basically you getting out and working out new material, as we say, working out in the gym. But it's also opportunities in an actual audition to be booked through them. That's how I run my open mics as well, to be on my shows. Also. So yeah, it's you got to go online. You have to be a part of these groups. You have to network. I find out about a lot of things due to a lot of my bookings were actually word of mouth. Like I would go to the open mics. I went out of town, started traveling by myself. Won my first competition in Ohio. Um, but a lot of my bookings definitely were just word of mouth of, hey, you gotta go see her. You gotta book her. So I definitely shout out to those who just went off someone else's word of booking me because they heard I was funny.
Now, and I'm gonna get into the money issue because I know comics get paid. I know they get paid,
Mm,
and
mm.
no, I'm gonna just get to it now because I'm really curious how this works. My assumption is the more known you are, the more you're going to get paid because that just kind of makes sense.
No,
Um, it doesn't.
no, not in. It does, but it doesn't.
Okay, tell me where I'm wrong at, because I literally don't know. I'm like, how does a comic? Because I'm thinking, I'm thinking of the upper echelons, like the Kevin Harts, the Moniques, the Samores, the Leslie
Yeah,
Joneses. I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna get whatever they're gonna get off top.
yeah, because they established that they established their names to where now you're getting paid more because of who you are.
Right,
Um,
right, okay.
but when you start off as a comedian, as I tell people, we're the poorest people in entertainment. We really are. As a lot of comedy is self funded, as I self fund my own shows to pay comedians. A lot of shows it's um, where you're known at. You can be known around a couple cities. Like I'm known a lot around Indiana, in and out of town. Um, and I can, have the financial status. I'll say, as we say, our budget. I can give you my budget of how much time I can do, and since it's out of town, traveling costs and things like that. But again, it's, well, if I'm paying you this, how big of a crowd can you come out? It doesn't matter how many people know you. How big is your crowd that's going to come out for us to get our money back too? Basically, of paying you. So you can
Right,
be
because
known.
because the
Yeah.
club would be in it to make money. But
Yes.
I think what I'm getting at is you have the headliners, which
Hmm.
you're going to be one day, but then you have the ones that come. What are the people that come before the headliners called?
They are the openers. They are
Okay,
the
the openers.
features.
So when
Yes.
you're the opener act, you're not getting as much as the headliner.
No, you're not.
So my question is, how do you move from opener status?
Hmm.
No, how do you get to opening status?
Opening status is definitely being funny, hitting in the open mic. Open mic, as I tell people, in comedy, you have to look at more than just financial currency of a dollar bill. Our currency comes in more ways to where you might not be hitting enough stages, but your name brings in the currency also. So it's when you are opener or even trying to get to opening, it's hitting the open mics around town, letting yourself be known first, making sure you're funny, taking class. Um, then people who are mainly at these open mics as I am, we're looking for people to put on our shows. But even as an opener, you're still going to kind of get that, hey, well, you just started out, so you're going to get a couple shows that you have to do for free. You're going to have to sell tickets in order to get your revenue. Or people think once you hit the mic and do a joke, it's all right, well, I'm funny. They laugh, pay me. It doesn't work like that. It also works with the producer you're working with, of what are they financially able to give, as well. So to work from opening to headliner, that's hitting every open mic. That's perfecting your jokes, your crafts. Can you work with the crowd, ad lib, if you're thrown on the spot, timely manner, who you are as a person. Because at the end of the day, we don't, in comedy, you can be really, really funny, but if you're a horrible human being and you're disrespectful, no one's going to work with you at all. So to get to the headliner point, which I've been the headliner, it's knowing how to do from 10 minutes, 5 jokes, maybe, stretching that out to 20 minutes, 20 minutes, stretching out to 45, to where you're doing a 2 hour, 3 hour special.
Yeah, now that's got to be hard. That would just be difficult for me because I'd be like, okay, so what we gonna do is talk about growing flowers, and then we'll end it because I can't imagine, like, how do you come up with even 15 minutes sounds like a lot to me because I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I talking about?
Because when you say the 15 minutes, and I tell a lot of comedians or entertainers, think of the time, but don't think of the time. That's where you go out to the open mics to learn how to control time. Because most times in an open mic, you get 3 to 10 minutes to work out. If you can do 3 minutes, that's good without going over the light. If you can do 10 minutes, that's good. It's again, learning your jokes, learning how to connect with people, to talk for 15 minutes. Because when you get on stage, if you're not in your head, that 15 minutes go by as if it's 5 to 10 minutes for us. And we don't say you don't have to go that exact amount. If you can, that's perfect. But it's better to go at least 85 to 95% or 100 than to go 50% and below of your time.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I do want to get to some types of comedy that I just can't stand because I don't understand it. And maybe you do this. I hope you don't because now I've just said I can't stand these types of comedies. Insult comics. I can't. I don't understand. Like, first of all, I don't think you're funny. Second of
Yeah.
all, the person's paying money to see you, so you insult them. Where did that start? Who started it? And how the tarnation do we stop it? Because it needs to. I'm like, insulting the audience is
It
not a
it
good
has
thing.
it It has to start with the audience. Why are y'all paying to go see someone that you know you've seen them already insult someone else? So it has to start with
That's
your
true.
with your money. So they're going to keep insulting the more people who keep buying because why they got their money. So now you just paid to get disrespected. So of course you're not gonna pay for it again. But if people keep on paying this person,
Then they'll
then
keep doing it.
exactly. But
Can't stand it. Oh
insulting
gosh.
comics, those are the comics that are not really comics to me.
Yeah, because I
That
got
those
one in
are
mind. If I named her, you'd be like, he's funny. And I'm like, no, he's not.
it depends. It depends. I know I have a lot of things that is funny to me. Then I have things that are not funny to me. If you're joning, or as we say joning, or if you are interacting with the crowd, if they being disrespectful, it's easy to become a heckler your own self as on the stage. So if it's you're talking about someone who's being rude and disrespectful in the audience, you don't have to insult them unless they're literally being blatantly disrespectful and insulting. Then hey, do what you have to do. But if you're talking about them or things such as that, it's do it in a respectful way. As I tell people, don't turn that crowd member into your set. Don't turn it to where you're starting to insult and get upset and lose patience because some people aren't going to book you again. Because sometimes you have to learn how to, oh yeah, talk about them, address them, give them the attention that they want, and then you just keep it moving. But the insulting comics, that's when I just as a cussing comic. If every other word is a cussing word, you have nothing else to say. But you got to start with the audience.
Yeah, that's the other one that irritates me. But of course, that's coming from a person that's seen Coming to America 155 times and can quote every single line in order from start to finish. But hey, it just depends. Um,
Yes.
how do you? And I've seen this happen a lot where comics are doing their set, right? That's what you all call it, a set, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
got it.
yes.
Okay, so when we're doing, I see them
Congratulations.
doing their set,
Yes.
and like somebody from the audience will come off the stage, and I'm like, they don't have security.
No.
They're just like they don't have security. That amazes me because I'm like, you would think because the audience and the comic they're not far from each other. They're
No, we're not.
like you're right there and they're right there and they could just get up and just be like, bam, no security.
No security. One because it's we're coming out to be funny. One, we're not musicians. We're not coming out and iced out chains and I know I'm not. And it's knowing that with certain comedians, it's also respect level because as I stated, a lot of comedians, our background is to us, we are security. Don't let these jokes fool you. Um, so we know how to stand our ground. But when you're making people laugh, that's a whole different environment. When they are walking up, yeah, we're being cautious. I mean, especially after the whole Will Smith slap. And then people thought they could just keep running on stage. But that's when, again, as every comedian showed, was that's not what you do. We're not celebrities. We real life. Like you can't sue me. I have nothing. And even if I did, you put me in a dangerous spot. So though there's no security for us. It's
Wow.
we like to keep that gap. It's more intimate to
Like,
us.
we can do a whole show on Zoom. Y'all be at home, and I'll be here telling jokes, and y'all need to know where I live, and y'all can just stay right there. But I'm always curious in terms of comics, and I'll have you name your comics here in just a moment. But another type of comedy that I don't like All Def Digital does this, and I'm gonna call their names out roasting. I don't like roasting. It's not funny to sit there and insult a fellow comic. It's not funny. I don't like it. It makes me sick. Do comics do that to each
Yes,
other?
yes,
Okay.
yes. As we
Apparently
tell,
this is
yes,
okay
as
because I'm like, yeah, we do it all the time. I'm like, what?
yes, and I'm a woman in this. So if you're a woman and you don't know how to accept your flaws, as I tell people, I know my flaws. I got on a mustache. I can talk about my own self. Yeah, bro, me and you gonna be shaving at 5 o'clock together if I go on any date. It's it's you have to learn how to take a joke. To us is not insulting unless we know when you're hitting below the belt. But if you in a crazy outfit, we gonna say what others ain't gonna say. You're in a room full of people who, again, we grew up where laughter is the only reason why we are still free. But that's how we know how to interact. Like I did Battle of the Sexes with one of the comedians here, Dwayne Cobb. And I had told one male comic, and if you are listening and watch this, he's going to die laughing. I told him as a roast that he looked like a stud starter pack.
See, that's why I can't get into comedy. One, I'm not funny. But two, I'm sensitive. I have
Exactly.
feelings.
You can't be sensitive and
That's not for me because I will end up sitting here in a little corner crying, be like, they talked about me and I don't know what to do.
and those are the people we say when you come to our comedy shows, you got to sit in the back. You can't come sensitive. That's like my questions of the, and we still don't know why. Why do people come out to comedy shows and you just sit there and you do not laugh at all? That's when it is. Why did you pay to come sit here and not laugh?
They wanted to drink.
And that too. I get that, but it's just like man. And then those are the people that we do end up trying to come for because we got to make you laugh and smile. It's okay to laugh and smile no matter what you're going through. But yeah, the roasting, it helps us. It helps us know if you're real or if you're real
Because
sensitive.
apparently this is normal. Because my sister's
Yes.
like, oh no, they do that. They're good with each other. They're like
Yes.
siblings. I'm like, what? This makes no sense. Of course, I'm not in that field, so I don't know. But here is my next question, and I would love for you to expand on this. Everyone that's getting into a field, whatever field that is, whether you want to be a doctor, whether you want to be a nurse, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, they should always find a mentor. Somebody that they can go to and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or be a mentor to somebody that's coming up. My question to you is, do you have a mentor and do you mentor others?
I don't have a specific mentor. I have people, I call them my advisors. Because a mentor to me is someone that you absolutely like look up to. And that was crazy. I had this talk Sunday with one of my artists. Like, I never really had that. I inspired to be in that field, or I know people I can talk to. Again, if you want to use the word mentor me, or again, I like to say advisor gives their opinion for me. As a lot of things I've learned and had to teach myself. And when you have a mentor, that means you're following basically them to a certain extent. And I've always created my own path. So Pacific mentor, no. Advisors are people I look up to, such as Dwayne Cobb, Denise Barlow, Scooby Snacks.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you say there's a comedian named Scooby Snacks?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought you
Yes.
said, and I just wanted to make sure I was
Yeah.
hearing that right. I'm like, did she
Yeah.
say? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody
And
has a
his
stage name.
yes they do. In his way. I'll say even Nate Robinson. Who else am I forgetting? Aisha Brown, Mike Shaw, um, Ted Harding with not in so much of comedy, but in his digital of what he does and music. So I have a lot of advisors. Robert Sweaty Hands Day, again Matt Hatter. I have a lot of people who are my advisors, of who I can go to and talk to ask questions. As far as me being a mentor, I do. I can say I mentor a lot of people, but a lot of people know I don't like to really use mentor titles or really much just titles. I just like to say I like to be a friend. If you look up to me or you see something good in what I'm doing to reflect in your life, I'm honored by that. But I don't even want my kids to look at me as a mentor. Guidance, yes, but I want people to mentor themselves. It's a mental thing, to guide yourself. You should be your own mentor in life, but you should have advisors to be able to talk to. I am the one to come to, that people come to talk to. Of when I call, I'm not checking on you and how your comedy career is doing. I'm calling to say, hey, how are you? How are you breathing through what you're going through? And people, again, they look at me and what I'm doing now, as, I say, more bigger than what I see. They do look up at it as an inspiration of me keep going. So if I am anyone's mentor out there, thank you. As I tell people, I have no common sense. I don't know why y'all talk to me, but I mean, I've always been me from day one, good or bad. It's always been the same word. But again, if I do have to choose a mentor, to be God. He mentors me every single day, and then I use his children as my advisors. So.
That makes sense. My next question is kind of a what if situation. So I'm going to give you a couple of situations. I wish I had did this last week, but I'll do it with my next comment. Would you? Because
Okay.
again, this is based off of comics that have the ability to expand into different genres,
Hmm.
whether they are like the Jamie Foxxes that can do stand up, that can do singing, that can do acting. So I'm going to give you one of these, and you can choose whichever one you would rather do. Would you rather star in a sitcom where you're
Mm-hmm.
the featured person,
Mm-hmm.
star in a movie where you're the featured person, or star in a stage play where you're the featured person?
I'm gonna say starting that sitcom.
I knew that's what you would say because everybody who says that was like, "Yep, sitcom."
Yeah, it would definitely be a sitcom because there's so many sitcoms that went off to be years good. A movie is, yeah, people can rewatch it, but a feature comic, a episode makes more money than 3 episodes. You done made your whole movie right there, your whole movie money. But a sitcom is more lasting of people and their minds. Again, that sitcoms have lasted for 10 years. It's the Jamie Foxx show. It's the Martins. It's the Living Singles. It's it's a lot of them. Because Living Single have been one of the sitcoms I would definitely wish to be on.
I always wanted to. Well, I'm not gonna say out loud what show I wanted to be on because there were no black people on it. But I'm not gonna talk about that because I don't feel like arguing with people.
You tell my friends.
No, I can't stand that show. I'm like, that's Living
What?
Single. If I wanted to watch Living Single, I would watch
Mm.
Living Single. I don't need to watch a generic. Like Friends is generic Living Single. Just like Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I don't care what nobody says, is generic Three's Company. I'm like, this is Three's Company. The same premise. You got a man living with two women. Only difference is Mr. Cooper, Hanging with Mr. Cooper had a child. That's like the main, that's like pretty much the only difference. And I think he was a teacher. I'm
Yeah, it
like,
was.
y'all, this is Three's. Y'all don't see this? Y'all don't see this. I'm the only person seeing that this show is Three's Company. Okay, I'll just sit here and shut up because this is Three's Company, yo.
I'm not, and
But it was
I
just,
love Three's Company and
and
Mr.
it was,
Cooper.
it's the Andy Griffith show. I would love to be on that show.
Oh, my mom loves the Andy. I love the
I
Andy
love
Griffin
it.
show. I would
The
not have
black and
wanted
white
to.
episodes, not the color ones, the black and white ones. When Otis
Be
was
honest with you.
arresting himself and he would put himself in the jail, or I Love Lucy. One of those two.
Now, I would take my chance more on I Love Lucy, but being black, unless my skin is turning white, I'm good on both them sitcoms.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, I don't want to mention them because there wasn't no black people on them.
Yeah, or around town. I hope. Okay, I quit. But no, those are really good. Those are really good episodes. Again, sitcoms that lasted from black and white to color.
Yeah, but that one didn't transition into color well. Neither did the Beverly Hillbillies. I'm like,
No, they didn't. They
ooh, y'all
didn't.
was black and white. Y'all was funny, but what happened? But I noticed a lot of comics, and I wish somebody in Indianapolis would do this. It didn't. Like you had the first episodes in black and white that were like hilarious. Then they went to
Right.
colors, like. When did y'all stop being funny?
That's probably how white people felt when we moved into the neighborhood. Okay, I quit. I'm sorry.
I was like, nah,
Color
this
just
ain't.
messes it up. Color just messes it up. Okay, but no, it
No,
was.
that was that fake color though. That wasn't
Yeah,
that good
it
color.
was.
That was
Oh
just
yeah, no.
like, I'm like, nah, y'all should just stay black and white. Just like the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's why that
Yeah,
show was funny. It stayed black and white. Stayed
that's
that
true.
way. Didn't
That is.
jump, didn't do nothing. That show was hilarious.
It
Um,
was. It was.
but I noticed a lot of comics are also hosting talk shows. Have
Um.
you ever even thought the possibility that you could be one of those, or you just definitely on the sitcom?
If anything, because I'll be starting. Was supposed to start a podcast soon. I wouldn't do a talk show. I wouldn't. I don't like to really sit and be the one to question people in front of people. I could do it myself and answer the questions. But as far as me having a talk show, I don't think I could actually do it.
You
Because
get a
then
cooking segment. See what you do. You get a cooking segment, and then they always bring some kind of kooky animal out there, and
see
because they
now
know the person is scared of them, so they'll bring out like a
no
snake or an
that was that was
elephant.
that was Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh no, they all do it.
That's the Steve Harvey show. That's like I couldn't do that. I don't cooking show. No, I eat. It's good. I got the itis. I don't want to finish this talk
What
show.
about a game show though?
Game show. I would. I'll do
Yeah,
a
see, a
game
game
show.
show would be fun because you're
Yes,
sitting
that's
there with.
one live.
Because you
That's one
notice
live.
Drew Carey, he hosts Price is Right,
Mhm.
and who hosts that show where you exchange stuff for other stuff? Wayne Brady. What's the name of the show he hosts? Oh my
Oh,
gosh! Y'all know what show I'm talking
my
about now.
friend, my friend was just on that show
Now whose line
too.
is it anyway? Is where you get a
Let's make a
prize.
deal. Is it let's
Yes,
make a
thank you. I
deal?
was like, it's
Okay.
in a curtain, and what they do. But I gotta ask this next question. I gotta ask this question. You are in a field that is traditionally dominated by men. Dominated. I think last week I named my favorite comics, and
Mhm.
if I'm being honest, I did not name one female. I
Mm.
literally, it wasn't that I didn't think of women comics, but I
Mhm.
didn't name any. I said that Richard Pryor, all time favorite, Eddie
Mhm.
Murphy, and Bernie Mac. Those were my three favorites. And then I had some other ones, but none of them are female. As a female comic, is it harder to get on that stage? Or am I just making something up that doesn't even make sense?
No, it is. It's actually harder. It is. It's definitely harder when you're a woman and you have to stand out in a form of a male dominated field. Um, because I would say this: majority of the female comics who have came before me, um, their comedy is basically in a woman's way of our body parts, us being sexual, us being ratchet, um, us being ghetto, hood, and a lot of what I do take pride when it comes from men is when I go up there and I'm talking about my kids. I'm not talking about how I am in the bedroom or pleasing a man or anything. And I loved your set because you did it as a woman, but it wasn't how typical female comedians are trying or supposed to be. Because when they're like that, yes, it's funny, but trying to keep up with the male persona, but keep it in a woman's way, especially if you're the only comic on an all male lineup and you're first. So you have to set the tone of representing for the ladies. You have to be funny to stand out. Definitely, you have to have tough skin of being able to relate to the men and the women of this because you can't be too sexual because then the ladies think you're trying to take their man, and you can't be too sexual because then the men think that you're easy to go once you get off the stage. So it is definitely harder than if you're a black woman or a woman in general. We get upset. It's, oh, she's just a woman. It's her emotions. Or a black woman. She's a crazy black woman. She's emotional. It always is harder for women because we have to stand out in so many ways.
Yeah, and I would think in like the Tarnation, I would know. I've never done a set. I would think the audience expectations is, oh, look at her. She's up there trying her best.
A lot.
She's not even funny, but she trying, y'all.
No. In
They
comedy,
boo women comics?
yes. Yes. If they don't boo you, the worst thing you can get is straight silence. And not the good silence of the joke wasn't funny. It's the silence of, this is a woman. She's not funny. But me too. Don't want that. Oh, let me just be quiet.
Wow, I would have thought they would just say, oh, poor little girl. Look at her up there. Look at her up there. Did she ask her husband, could she be up there?
No.
Look at her. She trying her best.
No. Why? Because, again, there's no slack for women in comedy either. You don't get a pass because you're a woman, because you're cute, especially when I sit in the audience and people don't know that I'm a part of the show. And they tell me, you don't look like a comic. And I just be like, well, what does a comedian look like? And I don't know. It just don't look like you.
Well, because when I think of course, I think of the old school comics because it's hard for me to find any today that I'm like, they funny. I'm just like, okay. Oh, and FYI, I don't think Dave Chappelle or George Carlin are funny. People went off on me last week. I'm like, I don't get their humor. It ain't for me. I don't get it. But when you're like judging an audience or getting roasted by an audience or the audience is interacting with you, do you think that they have expectations of you as a female, or do they think that you're not going to be as good as another male comic?
Both.
Okay, that's what I would have thought.
That right there, yeah. That right there, yeah. That's both. It's an expectation of getting told, oh yeah, you better be funny. I need to laugh, and it's, oh, you're a female comic too. You better be funny as well because you're in a lineup of men. So it's the underestimation, then it's the underappreciation as well. But it's appreciation that you're a woman, you're on stage full of men, and you are standing out. You can hang. But yeah, it's both for women.
Yeah, because see, when I think of female comics, boy, again, I had to scratch my head. I'm thinking of like Phyllis Diller, Mom Mabley. Yeah, I'm going way back. I tried. I really tried. Only I know this, well, now you, but I'm just saying, I go way back on my influences, right? Joan Rivers, that's the other one. I was just like,
yes.
I think of their style of comedy that was like more rougher.
Yeah.
Like they had that.
They were.
Especially Phyllis Diller. I don't think people, like, if you just YouTube her, everybody. I know Riot's here, but YouTube her. Yes. Because she didn't hold back. And I think that's why she's one of the few that I'm like, her. And even though Joan Rivers is more hit or miss. But I think with the females, even my expectation is lower. I'm like, okay, they're not going to be as funny. I don't know who taught me that. I don't know why I think that. I don't know where it's coming from. When I look at a female comic, I'm like, she'll be okay.
Because you've already blocked your mind to the genre of female comics you look at as funny. So of course you're not going to laugh at any other female comic because, I'm sorry, I'm black. I'm not Joan Rivers. I'm not.
That style of comedy,
yeah. But you like that? It's black. Yeah, I know. It was black and white. But no, it's one of those. Your humor is, again, the black mom stern humor.
Exactly.
You will laugh at the way a black woman is threatening a child about to whoop they behind. That's more so of, okay, that's funny, real, or a woman coming at a man, but in a strong, funny part of even roasting them. But you have to have strength behind type comedy with
Right.
no bar holds. And again, as female comics, we have to be careful of the line that I mean, I really don't. When it comes to what I say about men or in my comedy style, I know where it's a line of disrespecting, and again, where the truth just has to be told as a woman, and not being the ghetto type comic that I'm trying to still even portray or be while saying something real. So it's I look at the again if I name female comics again, that'll be some more because her comedy wasn't just about her body parts. It was, but it was empowering women at the same time.
Now,
Um,
see, I don't even know who that is. I'm like, okay,
Queens of Comedy.
I have never seen it. I haven't seen the Kings of Comedy either. So I know
You
y'all
really,
helped me.
were
Y'all,
you really a Bernie Mac fan?
I watched his TV show.
Okay, yeah, you gotta expand your mind of comedy because like even like yeah, I even talking with like I feel like I'm hitting gold, kind of chuckling at myself. But it's you give me a smile and stuff, but it's like okay, I'm not that again the Phyllis Davis of comedy. I just am a joking but realistic storyteller comic. I mean, it's shocking me for you to say, and everybody has their own balance of liking people, but it's not also shocking for you to say you don't like Dave Chappelle. That's not controversial to me. It's not shocking for you to say you wouldn't list three women comics in your top three first off, because again, a lot of female comics are pushed back into the shadows. And
Yeah.
as Monique is again, love Monique. That's another top comic. As she is very vocal. That's why I love Monique. She is always funny to me because she's always been real and
That's
very
one.
forceful.
Thank you. I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute. Let me start
yeah,
thinking.
yeah. That's how she got like blackballed. The real comics is, as I tell people, when you come to a comedy scene, you
Chelsea
have
Handler.
yes, yes, definitely. You have to create your own platform. You have to come with the knowledge of your own platform as a woman, own behind it. You can't be timid. You can't be scared to say how you feel, but no, it's mindful. A lot of men are not booking women's who is again when it's so vulgar or it's too. I don't know if she gonna whoop somebody behind after this or it's a thin line of female comics. It really isn't
Yeah.
easy, but I've been thrown with the best.
Yeah, and I think it's a societal thing because I automatically, in my own head, I just recognize I'm like, oh, I'm pushing women back. And I've always been about women empowerment. I've always been like, I'm like, hey, when are we going to get that female president? When she's
Yeah,
coming? When she's coming? When
yeah,
she coming?
yeah.
So I don't hold, this is like one of the few areas, this one in sports, I just hold women back. So I've got to do, I've got to do some
Got to do,
education.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
You gotta do the research of
yeah,
women,
because I'm like,
definitely.
okay, only one I can name that's modern is like Monique, because I don't know who Samura is. I know Monique, Roseanne, Amy Schumer,
Lunel,
Chelsea Handler. Linnell, I think is hilarious. I think Linnell I will name. I like
yes,
her brand. She's different. She cusses a little bit too much for my taste, but when
but
she's like in a like
zone, yeah,
zone, I can deal with it. But
yep.
I do have a couple more questions here, and I'm going to make it quick because I know your time is. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But here's another one. Would you rather? Would you rather do a comedy special
Hmm.
seen by millions or play live at Madison Square Garden?
I would have to say play live at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, Theus had to say somebody who I forgot. Yes, Theus, I forgot Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes, yes,
I was like, I'm
yes.
trying to think. What's her
And I like
name?
Wanda. Yes, gotta give it up for Wanda
Thank you,
Sykes.
Theus. I
Definitely.
forgot all about Wanda Sykes.
And everybody does. Definitely let me give Wanda Sykes her flowers. Because
Yeah,
Wanda
she's
Sykes is
hilarious.
one of those, like, she's definitely, I looked up to her.
Yeah,
As a
I
straight
saw her.
woman, I liked her. I
Yeah,
like her.
she is hilarious. I first saw her when she did the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is way back when Obama was president. And I was in tears. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not used to this crying. She had me in tears. So thank you, Sis, for
Yes,
Wanda Sykes. Because I
yes.
literally was like,
I'm like, I'm forgetting somebody. Like,
it's like, I'm like,
I
we were
can't,
like, we forgetting somebody. Who
right?
we forgetting? Like, I'm
Like,
like, oh, dang.
Like if anything, she's as a black, she's the queen. She should have been on Queens of Comedy. Like Wanda Sykes is amazing. Like for real, she is one of those. A lot of people I get, like everybody has different taste in comedy, but she is one of the women that definitely tell you like it is, white or black. She's gonna say it, and that's kind of like how I am as a person too. So yes, definitely shout out to Wanda Sykes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to expand my
Palette.
vision palette because I'm like, oh, I can name this guy, like I can name you 10 male comics. It just like rattle them off.
Yep, yep.
Women comics, I'm like, wait a minute, let me think. Let me go all the way back to Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller and who I still say Roseanne was funny before she got on the Trump train. That I'm gonna stick to that answer. I'm gonna just stick to
As
it.
you should. As you should.
Because before, and then she got on, I'm like, nah, you ain't funny no more. But before, oh, that Roseanne show she had was gold. I'm like, that is my life on TV, except for they're white. That's it. Replace them with a
Yes.
black family. It was like
That's,
good times for white people.
it was. It was. It
Except for
definitely was.
the father didn't die, and she didn't go, dang, dang, dang. But
Right. Right.
so
And yeah, yeah, that was
you
definitely a
rather
good one.
play Madison Square Garden than um oh, now Theus, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think Ellen is funny at all.
You're
Ellen's
killing me,
comedy,
Smalls.
I know, but
You're
see,
killing me, Smalls.
nah, see, Ellen, I don't get. And this is not about her lifestyle. Don't nobody say you just saying that because she. No, I'm not because women
No, it's
likes her and I
not.
love her. Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't
No,
think Ellen is
no.
funny to me. She's not
Yes.
comically funny, but that's just me. Um,
That everybody has their opinion. I don't like this era where I gotta like what you like. If I'm allergic to strawberries, I'm not gonna eat them because you eat them. So it's like who you like. I completely understand the where you stand at and why, but I'm a fan of Ellen. I think she's hilarious
I'm
too.
just like her talk show was okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. I need to come back because I need to come up. Her and Oprah from One Good Time. You in a car. You in a car. I need one of them to come back. But yeah, Ellen was good. I like Ellen.
Now, final question before we wrap this up. Where are you playing next? You mentioned an audition, and how can people connect to you?
I'm playing at 1313 Eatery. I'll be hosting Singles Mingle. Um, yeah, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Yep, on the 14th. On the 15th, I'll also be back at 1313 Eatery, performing comedy twice throughout that set. February 17th is my first Happy to Do It comedy show of the year. That will be at Stone Tree Studios. And then the following weekend, February 16th, I'll be in Anderson, Indiana as well, performing. Then you can follow me on Facebook, Riot Johnson. I'm happy to do it comedy, or it's a Be a Riot. It's about to be an underscore Riot comedian on Facebook. Instagram, it's about to be a riot. You can look me up on YouTube at Happy to Do It Comedy as well.
Okay, now, Theus, who the bleep is this? Who is this person?
Kathleen Madigan. Hold
Who?
on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. because I know this name. I'm horrible with names, better with faces.
Is she that one that was on The Office?
Oh no, A plus. A plus. What else? I'm looking at her right now. She is definitely. I didn't know she had stand ups. Oh no, wait a minute, wrong
She
person.
used to date Louis Black.
Mm.
Okay, and I'm like,
All right, yeah,
oh.
no, wrong person. She's 58. I don't know her. This is above my time.
Yeah, I'm like,
Uh,
I'm gonna have to ask him offline. Who is that
I'm
you
gonna
was
have to look
talking
her up.
about?
She's from Illinois, so I'm gonna have to look her up. She's Midwest, so definitely.
Yep. So I want to thank. I'll tell you my last wish, and then I'll do my thank yous. I wish all the female comics in Indianapolis would get together one night and do a show. I promise I would be in the audience.
That's coming soon of an all female show for Happy to Do It. Um, soon.
Tell me about it, because we connected on Facebook. So just be like, Tracy, what you was talking about is this weekend. I promise I'll be
Oh,
in
of
the
course,
audience.
yes, of course. As I like to differentiate, make my shows different, not just diversity, mixed between men and women. I've had literally a female headliner close out, all men lead the way. I'm doing an all male show that is coming up, and then in April, that will most likely be a no Friday, actually the 25th, but that's music of empowering female artists if I have a digital presence. I have some reels on my page. I like for people to see me live. I put snippets on um, digital, but I don't have a lot of time to edit more snippets. I'm trying to build up a team for that. But yes, that is going to definitely happen of an all female show. It'll be 7 females. I'll definitely keep you posted on that. That'll be later on. Pretty much, I want to do that more in the summertime. That way, it's still women can actually dress as women. I don't want the flamboyant everything out, but I want it to definitely be all female comics, a powering show, and probably really raising money for the Lupus Foundation, as my mom does has lupus, um, and I definitely want to have that going. So you'll be actually seeing that here pretty soon. So cat's out of the bag. You have a date.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I want to thank Riot, who she knew before I went on this show. I was like, look, my team lost. I'm not in a good place. I'm still want to cry. But you know what? She put a lot of smiles on my face, and I greatly
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Awesome.
I want to thank everybody for watching. And remember, I got one last announcement. Let me go to it. So remember that on the 22nd of February, we are having our after party. To get a link, I want everybody to listen to this. To get a link, you must be a Patreon. Do not email me talking about why didn't I get a link? You're not a Patreon. That's why you didn't get one. We will be talking about best food mascot. That will be our topic. We try to keep it fun and we try to keep it light for our after show party. If you are not a Patreon, you can go to this link right here or go to TRACYMediaLLC.com and put it in there. It's right there. You can link. It starts at $2, which is 50 cents a week, um, up to $15, and that'll be for the Medicare for All documentary. So I want to thank Riot. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Have a great evening. I will see you Thursday when we'll get back to politics with our interview coming up, and have a fantastic evening.